In this video, we're going to look at good and bad examples of solution paragraphs. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video, read through these 3 different solution paragraphs, and you'll have to download this file in order to see all 3 because I can only fit 1 page at a time on the screen, and decide how effective each paragraph is based on what we just talked about in the previous video. All right, so pause the video, read through these 3, and then I'll come back and give you my commentary on them. Okay, coming back from the paused video, let's look at C first. C is not a very effective solution paragraph. So, I'm looking here to see if there's a clear definition of what the solution is, and frankly here there is not. It just sort of says one solution is the tax cap should be eliminated to provide more money for Social Security. But it's not explaining what the tax cap is and what the tax cap is on or anything like that. So the definition of just what the solution is very unclear to me. And then they really never talk about why this would work. I don't see any real discussion of feasibility. They just keep asserting that it will work, but they don't explain why. And they never even address how it would be put into place, really, right? They just say this needs to be done. They don't really say who would do it, really, or how it would happen. There's no detail about that. So they don't have very good definition, feasibility, or implementation. Also, the evidence here is not really relevant. If you look at those quotes, the 2 quotes, they're really just saying, hey, the government's promised to give people Social Security and we need to keep that promise. Well, that doesn't do anything to explain what the solution is, or to show that it would work, or to explain how it would be put into place. So this is not very effective. I mean, they only have this one statistic here as well, and it's not even really relevant to showing how the solution would work or how it would be implemented. And then I'm also noticing here that none of the pieces of evidence here are cited, right? Like we don't have a citation for these quotes. We don't have a citation for this statistic. And what happens, I think, is people will use the same source for everything, so they just wait until the end of the paragraph to put their citation there, and that is not what you want to do. You have to cite it in every line. But the evidence isn't really relevant anyway, so it's kind of a moot point. All right, let's look at D next. And D is a very effective paragraph. So first of all, it has a good topic sentence that lays out what the solution is, right? And we use the word solution, so we know that's what we're getting. And it explains clearly that this is removing the cap on the amount of income taxed in order to pay for the program. So it tells me more about what this cap is about. And in fact, this first section of the essay, to me, is where they're really defining what the solution is. And, if you look at those 3 or 4 sentences, you can really tell what the solution is. And it often involves saying, here's how things are done now, here's how it would be changed under the solution. And then we have a good discussion of why it would be feasible. So this section of the paragraph here is the feasibility. So it really explains here's why it would work. And it's relying on quotes and statistics cited from experts that show that if we remove this cap, there would be enough money to close almost all of the shortfall and keep the funding going until 2057. So that really is very persuasive that this solution would work. And then finally, we have a discussion of how the solution would be implemented, how it would be put into place, right? That you would have to have Congress pass an act, and it had a very nice piece of evidence there that showed that they had done that before with Social Security or with Medicare, rather, and that worked. And so it's really covering all the bases. It defines what the solution is specifically. It says why it would be feasible, why it would work, and it explains how it would be implemented. Also, the evidence is exactly the kind you want. We've got quotes from experts, we have statistics, and we have a specific example with that Medicare example. So actually we've got all three kinds here. And of course, they're all cited from sources, right? So it all comes from sources with good citations there, and that's very important. Within this too, each piece of evidence, each quote and each statistic too, if you look at it, is integrated here using the sandwiching method. There's a quote with a sentence of context before it, and then a sentence or two of analysis after. And that's true for the statistics and examples as well. So this is a very strong paragraph. The last paragraph, to me this is a bit humorous because this is almost like someone sitting around a dinner table or at a bar who has had a little too much to drink, spouting off on his or her own thoughts on how to solve a problem. And the problem here is this person hasn't done any research. So they have no evidence to present. It's just all proposals, right? And as we'll discuss more in another video, we're not asking for you to come up with original proposals or your personal opinions about what should be done. We're asking you to do research to find out what solutions are out there that might work or could be applied to your problem, right? And if you don't do that, you end up with something like E, where you're just sort of listing a bunch of proposals without any evidence to show that they would work or how they would be implemented or even really what they are. Another problem with E is it covers too much. It's just got a ton of different solutions, and I think part of the reason for that is in order to develop a paragraph, they had to have a bunch of different solutions because they didn't have any evidence or citations from sources to sort of hone in and develop and explain any one particular solution. So if we're looking for a good solution paragraph, look at D. It follows the correct format of definition, feasibility, implementation, and it has good evidence from sources to support each of those sections.